remind the team every time I'm addressing my team, we are in business due to two reasons. One of them is our suppliers, the other is our customer. We are in the middle. Don't ever forget you're an intermediary.
One thing which you would do differently when you started out?
Definitely, and I thought about that a lot. I have few regrets in life, but the one is...
One more thing Rajesh wanted me to ask you about is the IPO roadshow experience.
So you cheated, you got Rajesh to write your questions?
No, not only Rajesh. I've got KU, Sachin, Mohit Kabra. I've got all of them to write.
What would have been one of the most difficult or toughest decision that you had to make? How did you go through it?
I think that right sizing to be done in the nice way without having to fire people or anything, that was a tough one.
Tell us about your stories early on the second class compartments and the train journeys and the travels.
Yeah, the best times for sure. So we always believed in...
Back in the day, startups were not sexy. How was it? And how did your family support you back in the day?
You got to believe that, yeah, you can do this. And then you got to have support at home. If you don't have support at home, then it's very hard. And so, yeah, I had 3 kids within 3 years. One of them is MakeMyTrip in the middle. So 99, 2000 and 2001.
What necessitated the merger?
Yeah, it was something which I think our hand was kind of forced in a sense because...
25 years of trust. I think you're loved across.
Company, though, all your hotels are only saying commissions kam kar do, commissions kam kar do. That's all we hear.
Tell us about Ashoka University, your role there.
One Ashoka should give rise to 100 more similar places. You need really good colleges which are like, you can give world-class education on Indian prices.
From an AI perspective, where do you think that risks and opportunities lie?
AI today can completely destroy our business or could take us to the next orbit. It is that silver bullet, but you better have that silver bullet. Otherwise, it's a bullet. I just coined that.
What necessitated the Ctrip buyout?
Oh, clearly.
Today is an extremely special day. We have Mr. Deep Kalra, the chairman of MakeMyTrip, one of the nicest humans in the industry. Also, MakeMyTrip is the largest OTA of India and has just closed a $3.1 billion round, which is more than any other funding which has happened in Asia over the past 5 years. In addition, I have my partner in crime and my younger brother, Udit, which is extremely special. So Rajesh talks about the fact that how you guys met and how you got them on board. Can you tell us more about that?
It's jab we met kind of story. So yeah, it's a crazy story and makes you want to believe that some things are destined to happen. So true story, my first VP finance, not even CFO, this gentleman quit within a year of joining. I think we were going through a very tough time. That time funding had dried up, etc. This is 2001 and he got a good job with Enron who was going to pay him double. So he said, listen, I got to go. And I said, we can't do much because, obviously can't match that kind of salary. So started looking for another head of finance, VP finance, went through consultants, headhunting and met Rajesh and really liked him and made him an offer. And he said, I'm on. So that was the easy part. The tricky part was during the period of him saying he's on and actually joining, this erstwhile VP finance came back to me. Enron had imploded. Accounts had got frozen. And there was no job. Basically, they said, sorry, we don't have a job. So he said, listen, I want to come back. And I said, I was happy to have him back, but I said, I've made an offer. So he says, no, please. And he was literally in tears. So I said, okay, I'll call the gentleman in front of you. And I remember we were in Okhla office. It was like one of those landline phones. And I called him and I think he was in the car on his mobile and he said, I'll stop. And I'll pull over and he was chatting and I said, listen, when you're joining, he's saying, why were you asking? Like I told you, I'm joining in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So have you put in your papers? He's saying, yeah. And he got worried. He said, why are you asking? I said, just checking. He's saying, yeah, I've spoken to my CEO and I'm all set to join. I said, okay, can't wait for you to join. Put down the phone and, the rest, as they say, is history. So Rajesh joined as VP Finance, CFO. We did the IPO together where he was CFO and I was CEO in 2010. Then we got Mohit Kabra, who's our CFO now. A year after that, Rajesh became COO and then CEO for the company and then CEO for the group. And obviously, like I always say, doing a much better job of running the group than I was.
And so what about Sachin and KU?
Yeah, very crazy stories for both. So Sachin I've known the longest. And Sachin and I worked together in AMF Bowling. This was my first entrepreneurial venture, I guess, in 95. And Sachin was head of marketing for me. It was a small team, and we knew each other a bit. The wives knew each other. So we got to kind of work together. And it was a lovely relationship. 99, I quit. I worked with G for about 16 months, and then I started MakeMyTrip. So when I started MakeMyTrip, again, we had a different VP marketing who went on to have a great career, CEO of a top MNC, etc., and did really well. But when we were going through that tough time, I think a lot of people couldn't take that pace. So we were genuinely working 18 hours a day. A lot of guys were sleeping in office. We worked Saturdays, we worked half Sundays. It was survival. We had taken big cuts in salaries, etc. And there were times which are not, I think, for the faint-hearted. So I don't begrudge anyone who left. But this gentleman left, and so we were looking for someone else. And Sachin called me at the same time, and he said, I've decided to leave AMI Bowling. He was still there for a year and a half after me. It's not the same, and I'm going to leave. And I've given your name as a reference to so-and-so places and all. I said, you're leaving? He said, I'm leaving. I said, well, guess what? Why don't you just come over? And literally, he just joined here. And we had this phenomenal association right till IPO. Then he wanted to kind of build a hotel and do crazy things. We're still very dear friends. I invested in his venture as well after that. And Keyur's story is also very interesting. So Keyur was employee number 6 for us. So very early days, maybe 4, 5 or 6, 6, I think. And someone told me about this person who is NRI, who's in the US looking to come back to India, has already come back to India, but has worked with a B2B travel.com called justfares.com. And his experience was just so relevant. And he said, you should have a conversation. I'm forgetting who even told me. So I said, sure, I gave him a call, and he said, I'm on the way to a wedding by train from Ahmedabad to Bombay. I said, okay. So we had this conversation. I could hear Antakshri in the background. I could hear music. The call dropped 10 times. It kept dropping because he was on a train, and think 2000, right? And I think by the end of that very sporadic call, I just said, listen, just get on a flight, come to Delhi after that. You have a job. Send him a letter. It's very funny. The first letter that I sent him had his designation. I think he was telling me or something, probably as manager or something. He was very young. And manager, international travel or some nonsense like that. And he joined, and within a week I said, listen, I'm really sorry. Obviously, this is not the right thing. And it became AVP, this thing. And within another week, I said, no, okay, you definitely need to be VP, because he was just so good at, I owe a lot to all 3 of them. Brilliant. And he brought the whole domain of international travel, especially ticketing and all. He was really the brains behind our whole engine. And the best part is, I think, that all these guys got together, and in the downturn, how they stuck together and supported, like 2 of them from the inside, Keyur and Sachin. Rajesh helped by actually doing a build, operate, transfer deal we did with Ebookers. So he ran that. They wanted me to run that, the Dhamijas, and I said, there's no way I want to do this. So Rajesh ran that, but was supporting us from the outside. And I think in every right, they were like, they put in as much in the business as I have. It just so happened that I'm the one who had the idea and started it. So I only take credit for holding them back. Luck got us, or fortune got us together. And I think I was smart enough to lock them up and rightfully made them co-founders. And, they are as much responsible for the company today, what it is. I just happen to be the face of the company. But yeah, it's been just phenomenal. And there are many people beyond these 3 and who have contributed so much. That's what I feel really happy about. So it's really like it's a cult. And even now, when we were celebrating our 25th year just in April, and we called over 100 alumni back who had done time with us, who had spent good time. And they came, and that was the life of that evening. And people came. There was a guy who took a flight from the US who was with us early days. There were many people. There were a couple who came from Dubai. There's someone who came from Singapore. I don't know if you Amit Sabarwali's
Yes, of
Red
course.
Door.
Yeah, of course.
Website. So we, Saber came, and we had this whole lovely, warm, fuzzy feeling of, guys like Saber. Mohit Gupta, who went on to join Zomato. He was with me 10 years and still a dear friend. Both Rajesh and I investors in his company. So it's just great to have this kind of, and many guys along the way have come and gone, but I think I've given a lot. So that's the main thing, where they've contributed a lot, and I really value it even today.
So one more thing Rajesh wanted me to ask you about is the IPO roadshow experience.
So you cheated. You got Rajesh to write your questions?
No, not only Rajesh. I've got KU, Sachin, Mohit Kabra. I've got all of them to write.
You've got a lot of work here.
Yeah.
Mohit, though, poor guy, was quite unwell. But
I was still...
Well done. They should ask me themselves. But anyway, what's...
What about the IPO roadshow experience?
Oh my God. It's crazy you asked me just this weekend. So I got back on the weekend. I was overseas in Botswana. That evening, we had dinner with Morgan Stanley, the team, because they wanted to celebrate this big deal. So Gokul had come down from Hong Kong. The rest flew in from Bombay. 2 from Hong Kong, 2 from Bombay. And we were actually recounting those days because the same team of Morgan Stanley, 3 out of the 4 folks had done our IPO. And 15 years hence, they did the biggest deal, I think they said, in Asia in the last 5 years. And the biggest deal for India Internet is $3.1 billion.
The Ctrip buyout?
Yeah.
Wow.
So $3.1 billion raised and literally
Congratulations.
overnight. Thank you. Again, I didn't do much except ensuring that our Chinese friends were happy to sell down because they're wonderful people, but today it made more sense that they sell down. But Rajesh and Mohit were doing the deal. And we were talking about that, and the IPO experience was crazy because we were sitting in a board meeting in January 2010 in a similar boardroom in Udyog Vihar, and Sanjeev Bikhchandani was an independent on our board, and he was taking a look at our numbers, and in his typical style, he says, "You guys are ready to go public." I said, "What are you saying?" We had no clue. And we were 40 million revenue going to 60 million, or 400 million top line US dollars going to 600 million. So we were growing fast, but we had he says, "This is where we IPO'd." And we were profitable then. And then, of course, we went into investment mode for hotels for many years. And he said, "No, I'm serious." So we said, "Really?" Rajesh and I looked at each other. We said, "Okay, we'll do some work after this." February, we called the big kickoff meeting, as it's called, the bake-off or the kickoff, where we had the bankers in the room, the lawyers in the room, the auditors in the room, KPI, everyone. But Sanjeev warned us. He says, if you list in India, it'll take you like over a year. It took us a year. And if you list overseas, I don't even know how long it'll take you, 1.5 years maybe. February 2010 was the kickoff meeting. And in August 2010, we IPO'd. So in 6 months, we worked frenetically. There was KPMG set up camp here. Our finance team was on them. Rajesh was driving it, like a machine. And we had a great response. It was a 2-week roadshow. We started on the East, Singapore and Hong Kong. And then we went to the US. And interesting thing, IPO size 70 million then. Today, compare that with 3 billion.
Yeah.
Tiny. With green shoe, 80.5 million, 15%. Green shoe, really small but big for that time. We had demand of 1 billion. So we oversubscribed 12x. We sat down. So in the US, when you list, you can actually allocate to whom you want. Like you met all these investors and you can allocate, unlike pro rata, like here, we have different categories. So QIPs will get this much, HNIs will get this much, and all there, it's your call. So bankers were guiding us. In fact, everyone said you can raise the price. The price set was $14. You have so much demand, you can go to 16, maybe 18. We took a call that we don't want to come across as usurious because we've got demand we're raising, some of the investors would get, pissed off. So we kept it at 14 and we cherry picked the best of investors because they put in bids at a certain price. So at $14, I'm ready to put in 5 million or 10 million or whatever it is. So cut back some, took some, and really had a blue chip roster. So it was a great, phenomenal experience for sure. And the funny anticlimax is you're at NASDAQ in the morning and you're in your suits and your ties. And of course, KU didn't have a tie and you delayed that by 10 minutes to find a tie for him. But we are there and so I'm saying, okay, where's the bell? And there's no bell. It's a buzzer. There isn't a bell there. There's a picture in my room. I'll show you. There's actually a big buzzer. And I said, really, there's no bell? And simultaneously, we did a celebration here. And we invited our team. We said, everyone's welcome to come. We're not paying for anyone. Secretly, we said, whoever comes will pay for the hotel. A lot of guys came. About 20 people came. 3 days before listing day, 12th August 2010, the bankers, Morgan Stanley, told me, who's coming from your family? I said, nobody. We're just doing it. It's a deal. They said, no, it's a really big deal. You should do it. I said, okay, great. I've got my brother-in-law, sister-in-law in New York. They'll come. And they said, no, you should. So finally I spoke to my wife. I said, I think you should come. They're all saying it's a big deal. She said, seriously? You want me to get on a flight to come all the way to New York? And the kids were young. Our kids then were, I guess, 9 and 11. And she said, I said, yeah, I think it'll be worth it. And, come. I've got a nice hotel. We were staying in the Four Seasons in New York. Come, what's the big deal? So she comes over, lands, and she's totally jet lagged. I said, yeah, I'll see you. We're still talking. I get done when we've allocated the pot at 1 at night. And next day is the listing. By the time I come back, she's fast asleep. We meet in the morning. And she said, listen, this better be worth it. And then, of course, we spent a few days after that there. And I'm so glad. I just feel regret that I didn't ask the rest of the family to join. Because I think you IPO only once. At least I don't have the energy maybe to do another one, like where you do the hard work. I don't mind enjoying it while someone else does the hard work. But it was a great experience.
Was the 70 million tougher or the 3.1 billion?
The 70. Selling the story then was hard. People, 2000, that's a great question actually, Anant, because people still believed India will happen one day. And Internet India, we were early. 2010 was pretty early. None of this boom had happened. So people would ask, why US? Why are you doing this? So we had one slide. Slide 14 was our comp. Our comp slide with Ctrip of China, Expedia of USA, and I think us and maybe Mercado Libre, or there was one more, maybe South America. It was largely these two. I think that's the only slide people wanted to see. Yeah, eventually it has to happen. And we all know in India, things take time. But it wasn't easy, I think, because we were also very new to that game. I mean, we had done 4 rounds, private rounds. We had done our initial 2000 where I got $2 million from eVentures. And they took it back. I mean, they wanted it back in a year. And it was no fault of the folks here. They're also dear friends. They had come for our 25th. But, you know, eVentures was owned by Murdoch and Star TV and Masa, and they decided that .com's a bad word and want to pull out of all investments. Just as well, we got an opportunity to buy the company back. But 2005 onwards did 4 rounds, and then the IPO was pretty rapid after that and had the pick of investors. So got very lucky with investors like Safe, which is now Elevation. I think still just phenomenal. Sierra and Helion, and then Tiger. And so we had really a blue chip roster of private investors who really believed in us. And that was the best part. Like we would have meetings where they would say, you tell us what you want to do. And we had lovely independence. So Sanjeev is one I mentioned. Gentleman called Philip Wolf, who set up Focusrite, who's no more, sadly, was a real travel guru, I call him. And then Frederick Lalonde, also phenomenal. And so I think it was run with great corporate governance, but still selling the story then was harder. Here, raising 3 billion might not have been that hard because, you know, now it's a well-known story. Right. But to convince Ctrip to come down because they really considered us the jewel in their crown. And, you know, it's been a great investment for them, but they didn't want to get down. But, you know, they're still their minority, so they can enjoy the upside. Yeah.
Lovely. So one thing I always wondered, is that one thing which you would do differently when you started out?
Definitely. And I thought about that a lot. I have few regrets in life, but the one is, and I say that often, if I had to start all over again, I think 2 founders, probably equal, complementary skills. So if I brought these skills to the table, I would love to have a co-founder who brought everything tech to the table. I mean, to think that we've set up a tech company which happens to be in travel without a tech co-founder is pretty crazy. So I can say all of us understood product well. I think understood tech as well as a non-techie can. The only programming I learned was, you know, way back in school, which was basic programming or some course from NIIT, which is not, you know, I can't code to save my life. I can flowchart, I can understand. But I think that's the right combo. I think 3 itself becomes tricky. 2 complementary skills very clearly defined would be a great kind of formula, I think, if I were to do it ever again. Yeah.
Tell us about your stories early on the second class compartments and the train journeys and the travels.
Yeah, the best times for sure. So we always believed in fun at work. It's a core value. I think that's how we're built. You know Rajesh, you know Sachin, you know K. You look at these people, everyone's got a fun side and everyone's saying, listen, and by the way, for me, hiring, that's very important. The one thing I'm looking for is a sense of humor, besides in, you know, getting someone who'll gel well with the team, the fitment. If I have to work with someone and spend, you know, 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week with that person, the person better be interesting and have some edge to their, you know, character. So we were always very big on offsite, and the cheapest offsite you could do was for team building was actually to go rafting. And the best part about outdoor or rafting is that there's no distractions. You're rafting in the day, you're literally rafting for your life together. And then at night, you don't want to be in your tent except to sleep. There's nothing there. So you're around the fire together and, you know, you're bonding together. So it's really good. And we took it a notch further. We went for this expedition format where you don't have a set tent. So you actually travel on rafts with your provisions and your tents. and you go to virgin beaches along whichever river you're going. You raft for 3-4 hours, whatever you can, and then you set up tent there. So one team will set up tent, one team will cook the food, and next morning you pick up everything and you leave nothing behind but footprints, as they say. So that format really built the bonds. And we didn't have enough money, so we would always go as cheap as possible. So it was either bus or non-AC, second, third, whatever it's called, non-AC compartments. Somehow do jugaad to get the whole compartment, all kinds of things, and do some crazy stuff on them. I think I'd get into trouble if I told you the stuff we've done on those trains, but those are good days, really good days. And I keep encouraging the teams, you should still do those kind. But now people only want to go to Goa or Dubai or Bangkok. And I'm saying, listen, that's not an offsite. Then you might as well just go and, have a party out here. But I think I would advocate outdoorsy stuff to any team, because I think that's when you really get together.
Sachin talks about the fun which you had while setting up Ebookers. Can you tell us about the entire journey?
Well, firstly, we didn't have space. So we moved to the terrace where we set up a porta cabin. And 4 of us would sit in a porta cabin because we didn't have space. Literally, we didn't have. And so I was moonlighting. I was doing both jobs, Ebookers and MakeMyTrip. Sachin and Keyur were entirely MakeMyTrip. And Rajesh was entirely setting up the Ebooker thing. And then we were setting up this nice facility for them in Okhla Phase 3. Mohit Gujral actually designed it, did a good job. So it was quite crazy because we had to give them some part of the team, which, they wanted our best people. So there was a lot of negotiation on who's moving and who's not moving. So yeah, I think if I go back, that was an important part, because the monies that we got from that BOT, as I called it, build, operate, transfer, were desperately needed. That paid our salaries. So it's like today when you diversify into a new venture, which is just sucking in capital, like you guys have done so well. So you have a new venture which needs all the capital, but you have a cash cow. So the cash cow is keeping the fires burning. Or any large group, as they diversify, for the first 5 years, 10 years, they might not make money from those projects. My favorite example is Amazon, which people say lost money for the first 10 years. The reality is they didn't lose too much, but AWS was always profitable. So AWS actually paid the bills for the longest time. And now, of course, once Amazon hit critical mass, Amazon pays for everything. So I think that was the kind of thinking then that, listen, beg, borrow, but don't steal. We'll do anything to keep the MakeMyTrip fire alive. And I'm so glad we went through that trough. We also had a crazy time where we got 2 angels. So I think the toughest days were 2001 to 2003. Literally enough money for 2 months of payroll and rent. Literally. And no kidding, I went 18 months without drawing a salary. Keyur and Sachin took deep cuts, I think 50%. All that got converted into equity. And then after about 2 years, and we would like every month take stock of how much cash do we go ahead. And the only metric I was interested in is our conversion getting better. Unaided conversion, we're moving in the right direction. Cash is obviously depleting, but not too much. And so 1 more month. And we made up our mind that, listen, we are going to keep, our chin up and put up a brave face. Because we are a tiny team. It was 24 people total. So 3 of us and 21 more people. They would look at us, and if they saw long faces, they'd say, yahan to kuch nahi ho raha. And the toughest thing, and I'm sure you feel the same, is when you have people who are believing in you and you're not sure sometimes where you're going. That's what keeps you up at night. People say, what keeps you up at night? That's what keeps you up at night, that, oh my God, I'll manage, I'll figure out, I'll get another job, I've got a good degree. But what about these 20 odd people who have given everything and they're trusting in us? I even told them there'll be no raises. So many senior people left. There'll be, cuts for senior people, but we don't know when we can give a raise. But these 21 people were, besides Keyur and Sachin, were really stubborn. And actually a good number of them are still with us, which is the best part. So I don't know if you've come across Divakar and Jasmeet and Sanjeev Bhasin and all. A lot of them are still here, which just feels amazing because they really trusted and they hung in there. Vinay's there. I think quite a few are still there. And which is a very warm feeling that they trusted you then, they hung around, they stuck around. And thankfully, it's been worth it, because when we IPO'd, 70% of our team had stock. So I was very clear on that. I was very inspired by Infosys. Infosys was a company that believed a lot in employee ownership and tried to do, well, Starbucks 100% have stock. We couldn't do that, but 70% had stock then, which was great because for me, that was what everyone deserved. So then everyone managed to, buy their homes and do whatever they wanted to do. And it was worth their sacrifice, I think. So yeah, those were the best of times for sure.
Back in the day, startups were not sexy. You were in a stable corporate job, and you were at that maybe that age where you were married, maybe about to have children or had children. It must have been extremely tough to have quit. So what triggered the entire, like, how was it, and how did your family support you back in the day when you wanted to start up on this journey?
Yeah, when I look back, it must have been pretty crazy. But I have to be honest with you, at that point of time, I think it's to do with my own impulsive nature and I guess I get bored very quickly. And if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, then I'm just miserable. So it took me a couple of years to realize I don't want to be a banker. I loved ABN AMRO as a bank. It was a young bank, wonderful team, learned so much from, Mr. Sopti, Ramesh Sopti, who was the big boss, and Sohail Chandar. Lots to learn. I'm very fond of them. I'm still close to my colleagues from ABN AMRO. And first jobs are special, but I knew I can't be a bank. I want to do something far more exciting. When I took the plunge, I had many routine marketing jobs and I almost took them up. One included one for PepsiCo Foods. So when they brought in their restaurants, I was joining Ajay Banga. Actually offered me a job to be marketing manager there and I would have joined him. Him I know well now. And but I took this crazy one, which was AMF bowling, because I thought bowling centers will boom in India at some fraction of what happened in China. China had 10,000 lanes way back in 95, going to 20. India had 0 or 4 manual lanes in Ctrip Hotel, which we made automatic. And I said, something's going to happen here. And I really gave it my all for 4 years. But we sold 200 lanes because there was an endemic problem, which is real estate. The cost of real estate in India is not commensurate to what you can earn. And, including for what you would see for hotels, old hotels, great. Zoning is there. New hotels today, unless you have an AeroCity-like project, you can't make money. That's the reality. And, I know that pain through friends like you and others. And people say, listen, we'll never make money. You'll only make money if you either do a mall or you do an office complex. So we need zoning, and that's a different subject. So I learned that lesson in the hard way. People who owned their real estate could make money out of it, but people were thinking small, 4-lane projects, 6-lane projects, so 32nd milestone. Second one was Qutub Hotel. Third one was Essex Farms. And then finally, Atul Ruia of Phoenix Mills had the vision to do 20 lanes in Bombay. Finally, we got a project which was 12 plus 8, which was the scale. But it took the mickey out of me. It took like 4 years and I said, this is going to take forever. And I started to panic because I was feeling that my growth is not happening. You look around and your colleagues are there, your classmates are there. And I'm talking to my business school classmates and they've grown so much. I'm panicked and I said, I have to join a company where I can get my intellectual inputs also. And so I joined GE Capital, which was a very exciting ride. And I have to say, they introduced me to the internet formally. But for them, the internet was always like a side project. It was never going to be their main thing. And by that time, I was getting completely swept in. So 99, 2000, I was getting swept in. So I think the one thing to answer the question squarely was, I guess I was quite confident that, listen, I'll make it work. B, I'm armed with a degree, which hopefully will always get a job. And third, I think, which is really important, I got a lot of support from my family. I think they believed in whatever I wanted to do. My wife said, listen, you got to be happy. When you come home, I remember you were buzzing when you were in AMF bowling. You were really enjoying that. G was fine. But all night you were sitting. We just had our first born in 99. And she said, all night you're sitting after dinner till 2 a.m, basically doing research on online travel or whatever else you wanted to do. Clearly, that's what you're excited about. So I think she knew that about me, that I've got to be excited. And I guess she trusted my abilities and said, fair enough, you want to. So if I look back, it was crazy. But at that time, when you're 30, I think the risk-taking ability is very high. And for any entrepreneur, I say that today as I talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs, I always tell them, listen, if you're getting into something, 4-5 saal leke chalo. You're not going to see anything till 3-4 years, green shoots at max. But if you quit before that, or if you don't have enough fuel in the tank to take you through the first 4 years, then you'll give up too early. Who knows what the company would become? And so many companies have not seen light of day because someone gave up too early. So you just have to hang in there. I think perseverance, resilience is the most understated quality for any entrepreneur who wants to make it. You've just got to be at it and you've got to be in, day out. And I love the sports example of that. I don't know if you're cricket lovers, but I always say this about Siraj. And this last series was so amazing. And it's to come in and bowl I don't know how many 100 overs he bowled. And the last ball that he bowled was probably among his quickest. And that's a great quality. And I think if you think at it, you just have to be there every morning, giving it your best. Things will turn, things will change because someone else will give up or just things change. I think that fundamentally that's what kept me going. So yeah, definitely very grateful for the support from family. And I think you've got to have self-belief. So the first thing is that you got to believe that, yeah, you can do this. Ho jayega. You got to have a small team around you who you trust. Whether they're co-founders or not doesn't matter, but they're with you. They feel that pain. And then you got to have support at home. If you don't have support at home, then it's very hard. And so, yeah, I had 3 kids within 3 years. One of them is MakeMyTrip in the middle. So 99, 2000 and 2001.
Amazing. Has it come at a personal cost?
No, I wouldn't say so at all. I mean, honestly, couldn't think of a more rewarding journey. Like, I'm not driven by, never have been driven by money. Otherwise, a lot of my career choices, except my first one to join a bank. And that also, I took a choice to be in Delhi for personal reasons, but I could have been in Bombay. But all of those choices were not driven by money, and definitely the outcome. I couldn't have asked for a more rewarding journey. Now that since the last 3 years, I went partial executive. Now I'm non-executive, but I'm still in office. When I'm in town, I'm here twice a week. I don't think anything for me could have been more fulfilling. It doesn't matter to me whether one more zero, one less zero is immaterial, because we all know beyond a certain point that does nothing. I just think the journey, the experiences, the friendships, the relationships, I think the respect that you earn in the fraternity and what your brand stands for me, that's really important. Like, it would break my heart tomorrow if, the MakeMyTrip brand name was, for some reason, doesn't have the same thing in the fraternity and among customers. I still get really bothered when I read customer issues. And a lot of them reach me because my email and my number's out there, which is fine. I get to read them, and then we have a crack team that solves them. My only instruction to them is err on the side of customer, learn from it. Let's not make the same mistake again. And that's why technology and automation is so important, because human errors will keep happening. So in our business, we just have to move towards Six Sigma, and we'll only do it through technology where you're not making the same mistakes. Like, we don't have any of those issues by and large when people buy on the platform, whether it's app or website, refund on the platform, and all, you have no issue. The issues come in when they've spoken to someone. So clearly that someone has to become, our chatbot has to become Myra, where everything is structured. Today I was booking a ticket in the morning for a local trip, domestic trip to Chandigarh, and I did it entirely speaking on our app.
Wow.
And I've yet to give feedback, which was great. And I spoke in Hindi and in English, and purposely. And it was so smooth and so good. I want to compliment the team. There are a couple of things we can do better, which also I want to tell them, which is part of the improvement process. But it's so easy today, and that's purely AI. And tomorrow, this will be the future where we will be booking. I think both of us are Whoop users. But tomorrow we'll have a wearable where we'll probably be talking to it and in our own native language. Who knows, tomorrow we'll be just thinking about it day after. But we'll just be talking to it in a very native conversational manner. And you'll get a few relevant options, 3. You can manage those 3. You can pick one, and boom, you trust the brand. You don't want to go through the pain of the booking. Booking is not, booking a holiday, and especially a offbeat trip, is a lot of work, and someone has to do it. The pain has to go away. And that's our job, to take that pain away. Enjoy the trip. Don't, suffer the pain of booking it.
I'm going to take you back to, your more difficult days with MakeMyTrip. And I want to talk to you a bit about your almost near sale with Zuji.
Wow, you've done your homework.
Yeah. And what was going on then? Was it just the gap of the $2 million offer? I mean, the gap of $2 million that didn't result in it?
Yeah, pretty much. You're the first person who've asked me that question, so you've really done your research. I've spoken about it a few times only. So we were really going through a tough time. This is 2004. Yeah, I think it was 2004. We got a little bit of angel finance to just give us sustenance, but it was just sometimes never ending. So it'd been 4 years already into it. And Zuji approached us. So Zuji was, I think, half Abacus, which is the GDS company, and half Travelocity.
Right.
And they were a big thing in Southeast and well-funded, and they were going around, and they liked the story. I'd met them once, and they said, yeah, we're quite interested. And we got the feeling through someone in the middle that they want to make an offer. So I discussed it internally with Keyur and Sachin, and I think I told Rajesh the same. And they had said some offer of like 5 million buyout. I was a management held company with a few angels. So, one owned almost all of it as management. And we said, not at all. 5 million is ridiculous. I don't even know what I think the dollar must have been $48 then. So it was not a lot of money, 25 crores or something. Today it's not a lot, but things were tough. And at that point, it seemed like a lot. And then we agreed, no, this is not worth it. We did our own kind of P and we said the future is so bright and all. And we said, listen, 10 million seems like a reasonable number, 50 crores. And he said, okay, and somehow only I was to go for that meeting, which was our office was at Ajini, right next to Turquoise Cottage, if any of you remember that pub.
Of course.
Okay, then you're not that young.
Yes.
If you remember the pub. So we were right there. That was our in-house pub. And down the road, closer to IIT, there was a restaurant called Waves. So we were going to meet for Waves because I was scared they'll stick me with the bill. And I couldn't afford anything more than that. So things were tough, but they paid. So we met at Waves with this team. And I don't know why only I went for some reason. And I said, okay, if it's 10 million, then we go ahead. And I guess these guys said, yeah, 10 is fine. And everyone would make, a couple of million out of it or whatever. This thing, I'd make 5-6 million out of it. They'd all make 1 million out of it. A lot of money. Went into the meeting and I just dug my heels in. They went to 7.5. I think they went to about 8, 7.5, 8 kind of thing. And it hung there. And I was just it's so weird when you're so relieved that they didn't say 10. So actually you don't want to sell.
Right.
But you're kind of in a desperate spot. And that is where I think, Lady Luck has been good and kind. And I remember running back from Waves to this thing, which is probably 700 meters, running back and telling the guys, and they're saying, what happened? I said, they didn't make the offer. And we were all so relieved. Even these guys were relieved.
Wow.
I said, they came up to 8 and everyone was happy because agar 10 hota, we don't know, we would sell. But then I don't think we would have the stamina. Maybe we'd do something else, but we'd probably have a non-compete. We'd probably have an earn-out we didn't even reach there. 1-2 साल 3 साल का earn-out hota, तब non-compete hota, corporate ही बन जाते then. Why would I give up a corporate job to do it? So yeah, it was just grateful. Some of the chips kind of fell the way we wanted them to. Who knows? It's one of those if-then things. So thankful that.
Looking back at your early days, what would have been one of the most difficult or toughest personal or professional decision that you had to make or go through, and how did you go through it?
I think the buyback was really hard because I'd put in a bit, whatever I had, money saved up into the business. I'd got $2 million. I'd signed a term sheet with eVentures, Neeraj Bhargav, on a paper napkin in Crossroad Mall in Tardeo. I didn't know this guy, but he looked legit. He was from St. Stephen's. He was a senior many years. I think he's 6 years older than me. He knew a few guys who I knew. He was an ex-McKinsey consultant. We are still friends. So I said, theek hi hoga and all that, trusted the guy. And then the money didn't come for really long. And I had quit. I had this thing and the money wouldn't come because of some structural reasons. But the deal was done and then they wanted the money back within a year. We were on track. Most of the money was used up. And I said, listen, we don't have it. I mean, obviously we've used it. You've seen we were to get another million. Verbally, we were told we'll get another million. $1 million, they couldn't give it. They said, guys, we believe in you. In fact, so much so that one partner and one junior who now both run Nexus, Sandeep Singhal and Anoop, they said, we love what you're doing. We'll invest in it personally. So they actually put in money personally. Neeraj couldn't because he was running WNS then and Travelocity was a client. And they said, our lawyers have said you're competition. And I was really chuffed. I said, seriously, you're competition? Wow. And he said, damn, I missed that opportunity. But buying back wasn't that easy because it meant, again, getting as much money as you can round up and really taking, like I said, 18 months, don't draw a salary. So I think that was a big decision to put your money where your mouth is, but that's real entrepreneurship. And you guys probably have started that way. You might have got something on a platform, but you obviously made sacrifices and, you keep making. So I think that was the tough part. And the second part was to get how should I put it? Just the right part of the team or the right amount of team to go forward. I couldn't afford, I wanted everyone. We were 42 people. It was a rare Friday where I got everyone into our coffee shop. We had a cafeteria come coffee shop in Okla. And I told everyone there, guys, go home. This is the situation. Think about it. Monday, are you in or are you out? Just come back with an answer. And I wanted some guys to leave because I couldn't afford the senior guys. no, and cuts for the senior people converted into equity at a low valuation, and no raises for the junior guys. And overnight, we shrunk by 40% and we were left with 24, out of which there were 3 senior people, 3 of us, and literally 20 junior folks.
Wow.
Because they didn't care. They just loved what they were doing. And they said, we built the site and we can't give up. It's just 1 year into it. Abhi to bahut kuch karna hai. So I think, and keeping them motivated month on month was tricky. Keeping ourselves motivated wasn't easy. But I think that right sizing to be done in the nice way without having to fire people or anything, that was a tough one. So yeah, that phase would have been the toughest phase by far. Even COVID was not existentialism. That was an existentialism crisis. COVID, we knew we'll survive. I had 450 million on the balance sheet. Unless this went on forever, then the whole world has gone to hell anyway. So I said, we'll survive. But a lot of people will leave. It was painful. There, the challenge was keeping team motivated. What are you going to do with these 500 engineers? How do you keep them motivated? And engineering and product and online marketing and marketing were all fungible skills and finance. And people are saying, yeah, travel is, we all know what happened, right?
Yeah.
Yahan to kuch nahi ho raha. People were bolting for other jobs. So to keep them motivated at that time was the second interesting challenge, where we knew we'll survive, we'll come out of this, but we might lose our best people. So that was another challenge.
So from a AI perspective, where do you think that risks and opportunities lie? And what is MMT doing about it?
Yeah, risk and opportunity is the right metaphor there, because AI today can completely destroy our business. Someone in a garage, hundreds of guys are building something which could destroy our business or could take us to the next orbit. So it's that big. And I say this, people are pained hearing it from me internally. I said, this is the internet plus the smartphone plus the app moment all put together. That's going to be the impact. And, people are still not taking it seriously enough. Because if with crypto and all, there's still there's a parallel track. It'll always continue. Crypto could become important, interesting, but AI is going to change everything because it's just so much more powerful, efficient, smarter way of doing what you're doing and taking away so much more pain from customer and doing it in a way where you can do it with much less people. So, I mean, it is that silver bullet, but you better have that silver bullet. Otherwise, it's a bullet. I just coined that. That's interesting. So it can be a silver bullet or it's a bullet. You make up your mind. And I think that's our thing. We have to do go all in out here, but do it also smartly. Like I said, we've made our first inroads. It's pretty good, I think, what we've done. The back end is ready, right? We have everything there. But for the front end, it's not easy. Those models are available to everyone. LLMs, we're not going to build that. That's there. The application layer, the agentic flows, and in our kind of platform, how do the various agentic flows actually work together in a collaborative manner? So you have one for tickets, international, domestic. You have one for hotels. You could have one for homestays. You have agents for everything. But they also have to work together because very often people are buying different things. The cab product also they're buying the insurance product. So it's non-trivial. So our CTO and phenomenal, very clear thinker, Sanjay is totally consumed with this. You have to get the architecture right, and then there are enough people to build it. So it's not easy, but I think it's going to be all or nothing. So, I won't tell that to our investors, but I think everyone knows it. So you just have to be fully invested and you have to fundamentally believe that this can make or break your business. If we don't do it, someone else will. I mean, my dream state, like I said, is just talking to something which you don't even see, getting 2-3 relevant options, which are relevant, which are already, you can do the price challenge test, you can do everything. Well, let's face it, everyone's a bargain hunter, not Indians, everyone is. You've done all of that. And now you're saying these are the best 3 options for you, Anant, because I know how you travel, I know what you like, I know your preferences. All of that is a given. Personalization is 1.0. This is personalization on steroids and just giving it like that. And, we're all playing with AI right now and seeing the power of it every day, right? Every day someone will say, oh, wow, this was AI done. You say, seriously? No human behind it? No, there were humans who built the AI for it, but not in rendering this.
I think that one of the big parts of his success, at least from where I see it, has been the hiring and the longevity of the senior leadership. So even people who've left at the senior leadership level have, left maybe after 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. So they've given more and more to the industry and more to MakeMyTrip than sort of they would have taken. How do you build out this culture, whether it is Ritvik Khare, or Mohit Gupta, Abhishek Logani, Sanjay Mohan? You have like, you can go on and name.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably your greatest skill, to identify and to nurture them too.
You're 100% right, Anand. I think we are what we are today because of the team. And like I said that upfront also, there are three other co-founders you people know about, but all these names you mentioned, each one of them, our chief product officer right now, Ankit, is amazing. The guys who run Redbus, you don't deal with them, but both Prakash and Anup are just incredible people behind the scenes. You don't know our CFO Mohit, or you might know Mohit a bit. Sorry, you don't know Yuvraj, who's been. They've all done now 10, 14 years. Everyone, and there's so much of comfort working with them. And the next level too, they know the ethos of the company. Each one is working like a mini entrepreneur. So my style and Rajesh's style is definitely to let people play on the front foot. Go ahead, take decisions. You'll make some mistakes. Doesn't matter. Let's figure out. But not to be second guessing. We agree on plan. We agree on strategy. Now go do it. Otherwise, you're not multiplying yourself. And that's the whole game in management, where, you decide and then each one can go and build a real business on their own. So I give a lot of credit. We've had people in the past. We had Amit Somani did amazing stuff for product for us way back. And yeah, there have been people along the way who have given just so much to the company that I don't think I can ever kind of make it up to them. And that's why for me on the 25th was a great time to actually call them back and actually thank them. And so I won't get into the trap of naming them. You'll forget. In the early days, we had just people, I can't tell you, they gave their lives to the company. I mean, this was for them, like I'm saying, they would live in there. We would be working nights anyway, dealing with NRI clients. And they would be happily doing that. They never even spoke about like, are we getting paid enough? Are we getting this thing? Never. So that culture has really helped. I think the toughest thing to do, I don't think anyone spends enough time on it, is hiring. Because it's worth spending a ridiculous amount of time to get hiring right. It's the raw material which will make it right. And then getting your way. The first year, people are just getting to know the company, you're getting to know them. No one is really firing all cylinders. And that's why when you said 6, 7 years, that's when they start firing. And then I don't think you can really mold people. I actually love what people bring their own X factor to the company, so long as the core values are the same. The core values are, we want to build this great company, we want to build this great brand. Our personal interests are second to this. It's not about me, myself, I. If we fail together. If something goes wrong, me as a manager will take the blame. Things go right, I give it to my team. I genuinely believe in the team. Delegate a lot. So I think if you have those core values are same, then everyone brings their own style. And it's not that we haven't made mistakes. So many people have not worked out, by the way, and which is sad. So I think if anyone quits within the first few years, it was not a good fitment. They might have been great people. It just, the fitment didn't work out, sadly. So I think that's when you should figure out. One big lesson I've learned is, if you're having second thoughts in 6 months, it's probably a bad idea. The quicker you kind of do the tough work, because there's a lot of harm you cause to the organization. One is you lose that 1 year. Then you get someone else. Good people get really upset when not so great people are there in the company at senior levels. So I think that's better than to just follow your hunch and say, this ain't working out. Let's just this thing. So a lot of regretted attrition has happened, like some of the names you mentioned. I wish they were still around. But when people leave to do their own, it's very hard for me to stop them. Like, I can keep saying, listen, you're getting everything here. You're getting your chance to this thing, play your game. But I think, how can you as an entrepreneur say, don't go ahead and do it? So it's love. And to see them succeed is very satisfying. Very, very satisfying. So I think, it's good to see guys go out and take the brand name forward in their own way.
Mohit mentions, how do you keep your composure in adversity and hold back from trying to impose your views? This, I think, across Mohit
Kabra. Okay, you've spoken to everyone. I think I've learned. I used to be far more excitable. So Mohit probably hasn't seen that side of me. So I used to be quite...
I think everyone in the company.
I think in the early days, I would lose it. I've really held myself back. It's also, I think that's wisdom, where you realize you don't get anything done. I've also worked with some great bosses with bad tempers and said, listen, just imagine if you could remove that part from that great boss and just keep this thing. So it's good to keep, I think, learning and working with even in meetings, you see some amazing people and you just realize some of the most amazing leaders are the calmest people, at least they come across. So I've had the opportunity in small meetings, like 1 hour, 1.5 hour meetings. I had this small group or not so small group breakfast meeting with Jeff Bezos. And you see a sense of calm. I spent an hour and a half with Bill Gates in a smaller group once. And you just see the sense of calm. And it's amazing. It's inspiring. I know Nandan Nilekani quite well. And oh my God, you just see his ability to zoom in and out when he was building Aadhaar and UID. It was unbelievable. I spent a lot of time with him then. It's very inspiring because, this guy was running Infosys at one level and then he was able to come down to small problems and apply himself. So I think there's a lot to apply and learn. And the main common thread I saw across most of these people were that they were just totally calm. There was a lot probably whirring inside, but they weren't losing. And maybe those weren't the forum where they'd lose it. Now we've all read about Steve Jobs and he had a very different style. But I think you can have that different style if you're Steve Jobs. So, you can say everyone is dash dash brilliant or dash dash stupid only if you're Steve Jobs, because that's 1 in a billion kind of person. So I know I'm clearly not that. So I think I think for good people and good managers, they want to get motivated. And one of the biggest demotivators is to pull down people in public. You must give feedback, but if the feedback is harsh, you must give it one-on-one. It's as simple as that. And people forget this because if you're going to give it in front of people, they're not listening. Their ears are singeing and they're only thinking, what are others thinking? I've done that in the past. So I have made mistakes in the past. But give the feedback, give it one-on-one with the view to say, listen, we could do it this way. You could do it this way. It might be better. So maybe people don't know about that. But the moment you say it in front of people, you've lost it because you've lost the person's respect. You put the person down in front of others' eyes. It doesn't serve any purpose. You don't need to tell anyone you're the boss. People know who you are. Like, you have to get work. People really give 100% only if they love what they do and they get the respect. So everyone has the similar hot button. Everyone has a few more other hot buttons, but these two are common for everyone. I mean, there's nothing else. You want to be recognized, you want to be appreciated, and you want to be respected. And I think good people join companies like ours or any company to be given the latitude. Really good guys, good leaders don't want to join companies where someone's looking over their shoulder and second guessing them. Why? They can go work for anything else. So they come here to say they get a chance to be a mini entrepreneur. And I think we try to do that every day. Like, that's really important. So that's the culture one tries to reinforce. But thank you for picking that up. Yeah.
Entrepreneurs and professionals face different challenges when things are going well, when things are going wrong, and different challenges when things are going well. Have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome? And if so, how do you handle that?
Quite a bit of it. That happens all the time. I think wisdom really, you gray hair and you lose hair and you pick up these things pretty quick now. You can pick up these signs even in interviews, even in meetings. People are trying too hard. People are not really being what they're this thing. I think that really, in interviews, like I said, such an important thing to pick out genuineness. Everyone's got flaws. Let people be comfortable with those flaws. Let people own also where they come from. So I meet everyone who joins the company. We have a week-long program called Immersion, which I have put together. It had got whittled down to 1-2 days. I don't know why. That's the precious time. 1 week within the first month or so of you joining, where you get exposed to all parts of the company. Leaders come and speak to you. You go out to the market. It's a really good program. I always tell people one thing. This is a company. It's a true meritocracy. It's been from day one. We give all the examples of people who have joined at the junior most level, literally as trainees, as half-day interns, getting paid like this thing, and have gone up to like SVP, any level. So it's entirely up to you. We don't care where you come from. Own that. If you come from a simple background, a small part of India, and you speak slightly different accent English, own it. It does not matter unless you're in a front-facing. It doesn't. What matters is what you bring to the table. And I think, in fact, that's a positive and an advantage, because the power of decision making, especially in a retail business, goes up when you get people from different backgrounds. One of the places we have failed, I'll tell you openly, is to not have enough women at the top. And, we've had one person on the leadership team. Now she's not with us. Now we have an extended leadership team. We have another lady. But that's not enough. They say the real difference happens when you have at least two in your leadership team, not one woman alone. And literally ad nauseum, I think I bring it up with Rajesh and Yuvraj, who's our CHRO, and they're sick of me hearing it. I said, we have to change that. Why? 3 reasons. First reason, we're a retail company. Half of our consumers are women or whatever, and decision makers for holidays probably 70%. The payment happens with the guy, the decision maker is woman. That's one. Secondly, we have about 35% women in the team, in the company. That's two. And third, I really think you get far more earnest and honest and loyalty coming when you have women this thing. They are just far more sincere about everything, and it just improves the culture. So I think we have to do it for all the right reasons, and I want to hear those opinions. So whenever we see a new ad film and ad agencies showing it to us, we are here around the table. I would see all of them now. I see them sometimes a little later. First thing I'd ask, who all have you shown it to? Okay, please show it to 1, 2, 3, 4 women who work with us and get their opinion. How can I think like a woman? I just can't. I'll show it to my wife and I'll always get a different point of view. And it's crazy. I also think women are more intuitive. Men just get stuck in their hole. What's the right thing to say? Blah, blah, blah. And women like, boom, that's it. Cut through the chase and this is it. So I think we've failed there. But imposter syndrome to har roz hota hai. You meet enough. But you have to figure out how little time you have to give those people and move on.
So what does a perfect off day look like to you? And no meetings, no agenda. What is your perfect
No, I think I
off
get
day?
bored. So if I'm holidaying, that's obviously off day. And I love, like we were going to one place recently where they said, oh, Wi-Fi is super choppy. There's no Wi-Fi in the room. There's only Wi-Fi in the main part. That also on and off. This is Okavango, Delta in Botswana. And I was excited with the prospect. I said, I want to go. No, I'm actually very seriously contemplating Vipassana. I've been saying it for a while. I want to go and try it out. My wife says I won't last, and I'm not bothered. Being cut off might actually be a boon.
Do it.
Yeah, I think you've done it. Oh, wow.
Entire family.
I have to talk to you about it because I really want to.
Phenomenal experience.
Oh, wow. Both of you have done it.
Yeah.
The entire family.
That's amazing. Okay, so we will have this chat because I've spoken to at least 10 people who've done it. I think I have to just carve out time. So, but out here, now, I think till I was full-time MMT was very different. Everything was here, and a great day would be where we'd see some great new product ideas, wireframes, and we're building something totally different, and it's exciting, invigorating. I get a very rough and dirty demo of something. For me, that's what makes my day, not necessarily, or we managed to hire someone really good. The routine is the routine. But now, I think trying to spend much more time with passion projects, most of them in the not-for-profit scope. So my days are busy. Whenever I tell people I've retired from MMT, my wife says, from MMT, you're clearly otherwise. But, more time, I'm the master of my time after a long time. So after 22, 23 years, I can say, like, I can now organize. Even now, the week is full up. The fact that we didn't meet for so long.
Hey.
But it's picking the projects where you want to spend time, come into office when you really are missing office. Rajesh, my deal with him is he calls me in. But willy-nilly industry stuff, people stuff, one gets involved in, and that's fun. So for me, every day is actually quite happy. When I go to sleep at night, it's quite rewarding. And a little bit of exercise, an hour a day of exercise.
So if people were to remember you for something beyond Make My Trip,
Yahi bahut hai.
what would that be?
Yahi bahut hai. I think that's good. No, hopefully one will be able to make an impact on the social sector. So that's where I'm trying to spend most of my time. And impact meaning do something which has a lasting impact. That would be nice. But don't think too much about how you'll be remembered. Yeah. Who cares? Who cares? Yeah.
So, you've been, like you said, we also started out like bootstrapped.
Yeah.
And sort of...
I remember one of our first meetings when you came with you were telling me about your new brand and your excitement. And I said, wow, this is really...
That was 1589.
Yeah.
And the first check was actually cut by Goibibo.
Oh, really?
So we did a MIB. So
I
we'd
didn't
not
know
taken
that.
we'd not taken any capital
I
from
didn't know
the...
that. Wow.
And then
Goibibo when we were running it or Goibibo
Goibibo
before?
on its erstwhile day.
Wow.
And then RK met us and we had no money on the balance sheet. We had no money, no assets. We were
RK
asset-led
Ritwik?
company. Ritwik.
Oh, wow.
And RK sort of gave us...
He was
Yeah,
very bullish on
so both, basically that kept us afloat. And
smart move.
And
No,
that
good
paid
move
our
to play
salaries.
one against the other.
Yeah.
also.
And that paid our salaries, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I wanted to understand that what necessitated the merger. And if you can just give us more
Sure. Yeah, it was something which I think our hand was kind of forced in a sense because, we had been trying to open up the hotel market for the longest time and nothing seemed to be really working. It was weird because air moved like butter, like so fast online. Domestic air, international air took a little bit more time. Hotels, no matter what we did, and we never believed in the discounting game. We said, like, you can't be in business, at least make something. And, advertising, we finally had never used celebrities. We even used celebrities, Ranveer, Alia, pushing hotels are easier, better. Because in India, people were still not believing of that, also saying it's easier to go there. I'll go check it out. I'll do like the behavior in India of booking hotels is very different. Either it was high-end corporate, go with the brand directly, go directly to the chain, or the mid-end retail was we'll show up and we'll negotiate and we'll do various things. And the third, which was the most irritating thing, was we'll get the best price from you and then we'll go to offline agents and net pe to ye mil raha hai. Simple. Take a screenshot. Early days, take faxes. Like literally send a fax, take a printout and fax that to your travel agent and say that was for tickets. Net pe itna mil raha hai. And so that over time changed, but hotel was not changing. And then I guess NASPER's playbook through Goibibo was discounting. And this had started in China, and deep discounting below your cost price, basically lose money on every deal. I'm very traditional. I've done my MBA from a place where you believe you have to make some money. You can make a little bit of money, but do millions of transactions, which is fine. And the model changed. And obviously people said, this is fantastic. Like, who cares, right? And I guess India was going through that phase of getting everything super cheap. And then we started matching that because we had no other way. We were listed and we were losing out on the hotel game. And that wasn't good pretty on our P&L because then we were suddenly losing money. So it went on for a while. We tried to do all kinds of guerrilla tactics, kind of this thing. It seemed like it was a bottomless pit of money. And later I got to know NASPER's process well and I realized their game and they actually pulled it off. So I don't know how much they burned. I have some estimate. But they pretty much gave us no option where we said, listen, we got to buy. And that was actually later. Pat told me, like, that was our game plan. We're going to get you guys to buy us at some point of time. And I said, wow, that takes a lot. He said, we're ready to burn money. Because, also the fund was in the 10, 100 billion kind of fund. You're like saying, listen, this is the way to do it. Also, I don't think travel was their playbook. They were in food delivery and other things. So anyway, this worked. And so we had to do this deal. We were almost forced to. And then the only thing was to make it work. So Rajesh and I pulled up our sleeves and we said, listen, this we're going to work on personally. And I can tell you, M&A, I can give you my biggest learning. We've failed on a lot of investments and M&A. And wherever we've failed, luckily smaller ones, especially the ones which were overseas. And there was no one person who was the karta dharta of that deal, who was your person. People were moving in and out. They were flying in and out. They were overseeing the deal and all. We lost money in each one of them. One in Phuket, one in Amsterdam, maybe exotic locations. All of them imploded. Wherever we said one of us is going to make this happen, and this was a huge one, it worked out. So I think we managed to get the best of Goibibo. We kept the brand, and not because we have to. We saw the value. So it's our challenger brand. It's our discount brand. It's a lot of people early stage when they have a budget, we use it as that kind of brand, and that works. And then we had Redbus along, which turned out to be a jewel in the crown. So, and at one point they wanted to pull Redbus out and I said, no, we want Redbus, and it's a phenomenal company, clear market leader in the space and run really well. Lovely culture on its own. Like I mentioned, Prakash and Noop were running it and we just kept them running it because they just done such a great job of it. So I think the big learning is get your hands dirty and make it work yourself. Excel's M&A works very well. You guys have done a big deal right now. You can make a PPT and an Excel. It looks very pretty. Making it work is making people work together. And I think we managed to keep a lot. Over time, some people do leave, but that's part of it.
So Parikshit was dealing with us then.
Yeah. He's
And
dealing with
now,
you again.
yeah. So
Great example of a
fact that
wonderful guy. Yeah. Wonderful. And we have many more who've come from there. And we said, listen, guys, I told them we had many joint meetings. I said, we're going to welcome you with open arms. We're not going to see you as any different. There's no this thing. It's up to you, because if you have things in your head, that's very different. But we will not discriminate because there were overlapping roles.
So, and what necessitated the Ctrip buyout?
Oh, clearly, macro and, as you know, India-China relationship. Well, interestingly, as we speak, they're getting better. But, they were going through I think, a pretty low point. And, I think the prudent thing to do for a listed company, and we explained it, and it took a long time, was definitely to have them at a position where this thing, they're again great partners, I can tell you that, but they were really good, very professional. But it wasn't prudent to have, a large Chinese holding on the balance sheet. Simple. Cap table.
So, Arman, Maya, Amrita, did they play a role in your transition from CEO to chairman?
Well, definitely consulted. Yeah, I think Amrita says that she definitely was very keen that I spend more time. And I think she's right in saying in the early days, I was probably missing in action. And I said, you were so understanding. She was, I was so busy raising two kids, I had no idea what was going on. I was like, two kids, 22 months apart. So really, small, and you have your hands full, and she's a hands-on mom. Yeah, I think it's fair. And I was actually keen to also have more time to do other stuff. Time for self, time for family, time for other passion projects, all of it. And frankly, I had the luxury of even dreaming about that because there was a Rajesh. Honestly, if there wasn't someone like Rajesh, I couldn't, then there's no option, right? Either you're like saying, I want to sell out, which I didn't want to do. So I think that was lucky. And I had a long chat with him. By the way, it went on for long. I wanted to do this when I turned 50. And Rajesh said, are you crazy? No chance. You're this thing and all. I said, chal, kick the can. Then I spoke to the board. They said, no chance, market will react. And also I kicked the can down the road 1 year. And then COVID happened. So for 2-3 years, there was no question. We were rebuilding the business. So anyway, I think even if I had stepped down, I would be back. So then after COVID, a year, then I said, no, I'm really serious. And this is now almost 3 years ago. And I said, Rajesh, but I'm around and I'm available. And you have to just tell me when, and knock on wood, we have a lovely friendship. And so he tells me whenever he needs something, or if I'm getting involved with something. So it's good. I said, anyway, we're, poor guys, we are dealing with everyone there. They are confused. Yeah. They're first pitching to you. They're pitching to me. Both of us are sitting in this room. They're saying, dono ko convince karna hai and all. So I said, it's not fair on them either. So yeah, I think it worked out well. And the kids, no, I think the kids were cool about whatever you want to do. I mean, they're not kids any longer. They're grown up, but you got to do what you got to do. I mean, just stay busy with something kind of thing. Yeah.
So what got you here won't get you there.
True.
So the next 25 years, how do you see MakeMyTrip evolve?
I think we already touched upon it. The next 5 is make or break on AI. I think 5. I don't think in India it'll happen that much faster. Maybe 3 to 5. And beyond that, I don't even believe in making plans longer than 5 years. Everything's changing too fast. I think, I think if we think we can dream, we just love it to be the brand for travel, at least, where, people they trust the planning, they trust the thing. It's like, what's the right example? I guess Amazon in the US today. I ask people this all the time. Who's number 2 in e-commerce in US? And people struggle to give an answer. It used to be eBay. Apparently, it's like Facebook market. I don't even know what it is today. And that's the command they have. And they've done it by just sheer excellence on execution, day in, day out. It's not a sexy site, but it's reliable. So I think you've got to be that kind. And you rely and you trust and you automatically start loving it. So I think, yeah, that'll be great.
Tell us about Ashoka University, your role there.
Yeah.
It's a premier institute
Great
today.
project, yeah. Yeah, full credit to, I think, Ashish Dhawan, Sanjeev Bikhchandani and Pramath. So Sanjeev I've known forever. And Sanjeev told me about Ashoka in the early days. I think there are very few guys involved then. And I said, I love the idea. He said, meet Ashish. And I met Ashish maybe for the first time 10, 12 years ago, whenever we had lunch in Khan Market, long lunch. And by the end, I loved the cause. Basically it is liberal arts, but done in a way which is today cutting edge, which is as good as liberal arts education as you can get anywhere in the world, probably the US. And I'd seen a bit of that. And I said, definitely, it's true. I did eco from St. Stephen's and things hadn't changed a lot. I would go back to college. Curricula had changed a bit, but not much. Pedagogy is pretty much the same. And I said, that's not the way definitely going forward. You want to get people excited. I'd not ever studied overseas, but secondhand seen some of it. But I could compare it to, IIM Ahmedabad, which is a premier institute. And maybe that needs some change too. And I'm now very involved there. I chair the endowment fund there. So I love the cause. I love the people behind it. And I like the idea that it's a group, the structure, the group philanthropy structure. So I said, I'm in. And ever since, I've just been kind of more and more getting in. I'm on the governing body, I'm on the board, and I'm quite involved. And I can't think of too many projects that have not-for-profits that are scaled like that. And that's why the team gets all the credit. And that have actually delivered and out-delivered on their promise and have had such a lasting impact. So hats off to these guys to have not just the vision, but at one point that land was going away, the Rajiv Gandhi Educational City in Sonipat, and someone had to put money down. And both Sanjeev and Ashish, I think they both just said, okay, listen, we'll put this much. And it was a significant amount because we still don't have, earlier plan was to do a tech kind of institute, but a lot of the NRIs and some meltdown backed out of it. So they said, let's just make sure we don't lose the land, and they put personal money, and then that got converted. So I think these three guys get a lot of credit, and then many along the way now, just the quality of people, the quality of education is really spectacular. So I'm inspired every time I'm on a board meeting and I'm just seeing what's happening, or I go to campus or I meet the students. We hire from Ashoka because they're really good people. And, Ashish would say this at a lot of board meetings, and I totally believe it, is one Ashoka should give rise to 100 more similar places. We need that in India. So, now Plaksha's come up, that's a great thing. Or there's a Kriya, or there's a Flame. You need really good colleges which are like, you can give world-class education on Indian prices. Because otherwise, it's not fair. Very few people can afford to go abroad. Now, no one wants to go to the US because you're not getting jobs. But why shouldn't we have the best of education here? The IITs are there and the IIMs are there, but what about the rest? And I think our school system is pretty good, but again, not for everyone. The moment you go beyond a Kendriya Vidyalaya or a DAV, the government schools, there are challenges. And I've been getting involved a bit with Teach for India and seeing what they're doing. I've gone and taught, I've gone and, it's a big challenge. But if we don't make a change there, then the future generations are just going to be the same. And that demographic dividend is going to become a demographic liability. That's the big fear for India.
So one thing you think that Rajesh is better than you at, and one thing you think you are better than him at?
Oh, many he's better at. I can tell you he has much more patience than me. People issues he's much better at. And obviously finance he's much better at. He should be the CFO of this thing. So there are many things he's better at. And sadly, cricket and badminton, I think. Cricket he's definitely better. Baddie, we haven't played, but he'll be better. Cricket he's definitely better. So there are many things he's better.
But what about you?
I don't think there are too many.
That
Probably a little bit of maybe, I don't know, maybe out of the box thinking, your product design, etc. I think he says that, you might be better at that creative stuff. So that's okay, yeah. I'm better at spotting talent. That's why I found him.
So, 25 years of trust and, everyone in the industry only has great things to say about you.
You guys are very kind. Not everyone. There are many people out there who don't still like us at all.
I think you're loved across.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. You made my day.
And
as a person,
why?
not
As a
only
person,
okay.
you loved.
Company, though, all your hotels are only saying commissions come kar do, commissions come kar do. That's all we hear.
As a person, you're just loved across the industry. Nobody has anything negative to say about you.
I guess I fooled them all. A good actor. No, I think you have to keep it simple and genuine. Yeah, I think listen, I remind the team every time I'm addressing my team, we are in business due to two reasons. One of them is our suppliers. The other is our customer. We are in the middle. Don't ever forget you're an intermediary. I think I would have said that at Goa also. We are intermediaries and we have to add value. If we don't add value to this chain, to this ecosystem, why are we in business? People will deal directly. And the power of technology and internet today is to bring people together. So when a hotel or a airline wants to build direct business and my guys are getting frustrated, I said, please, for a minute, if you were a supplier, you want to build direct. But you'll also realize I can't have 100% direct business. Like even the airlines who swore we'll never go through this thing, everyone in the world has got some intermediaries helping them. Why not? Because your product is perishable. It's as simple as that. You may not need intermediaries in a business where your product's not perishable. But in travel, you obviously want to sell every room night up to a certain level. So we have a value to play. So please understand our role. Please understand the pain point of the consumer and the pain point of the supplier. And please understand how you can add value. So I go into every meeting with that saying, please bataiye, how can we help you? And, reasonable people make reasonable demands. So whether it's new hotels opening up or where they are going soft, like even with like now your new partners with Puneet, Each time I ask Puneet, and he tells me straight, he's saying, yeah, this hotel, this, we're going to start something here, we're going to do this thing here. And I'm taking down notes. I said, I know you're telling Rajesh this also, but thank you for letting me know. Let's add value there. Only then can I come back to you and ask you for something. But you are the supplier. We are very clear. We are not the supplier. You are the supplier. My baap aapo. Hum sirf distributor.
This is my second home. We complain. It's like you fight for commissions. A lot of your team members ground up complain about increments. None of them leave. And for us also, we have the best relationship
They all
with
love
this
you
energy.
too. I was asking Rajesh before this, we were talking about something else. I said, anything I have to, discuss this thing. He's saying, listen, everyone loves working with them. Logani and I worked together till here and, everything's just great. So you guys have been just fantastic. No, I've just loved the way you guys are and our relationship has grown. It's just fantastic. And I wish, we can do that with everyone. So
you often speak about gut instinct.
Yeah.
So where did you see it work and where did you see it not work?
So I think a lot of these hires we spoke about were gut hires.
Yes.
Like Keyur was a gut hire.
Yeah.
I mean, I could barely hear the guy, I kid you not, Gujarati accent, even today. You met Keyur.
Of course.
Yeah, so I'm talking to him and this thing. I'm just saying, you joined, dude, you're on. And I hope he doesn't join anyone else. Just send a letter, got him. So gut plays a big role, I think, in hiring. Because you can have your checklist, you can do everything, you can have multiple meetings, one in office, one outside, everything. At the end, you'll take that leap of faith. So I think that leap of faith is where you're trusting your gut. Even new product, that's exactly what it is. With new product, before you have an A/B framework, which we didn't have till a long time, you finally say this or this and you say, I'm betting behind this. That's the gut. So I think you can have all the numbers stacked up. So your entire left side is saying analytically, this is great, this is great, this is great, let's do this. But to do something which is entirely out of the ordinary or to launch a new line of business, and to get really behind it, homestays and things like that, you have to trust your gut and your instinct. So whether it's people or new lines of business, I think incremental more of the same, that is definitely more, there's a science to it. How can you do it more? How can you do it better? So I think there are people who are very good at that. And then there are people who are very good of thinking out of the box. So I think you have to find the right balance. Yeah, but gut, definitely. And you've probably heard that too, 25% of the neurons here are actually in our gut.
Yeah.
So and you realize that feeling that you get inside is coming from somewhere.
So, right, sir, last section, some quick format.
Okay.
Question answer. A book that changed how you think.
Good to great.
One habit that keeps you sane.
Take a deep breath before replying.
A quote you love.
I guess, work hard, play hard, create history, but 2 out of 3 is not an option. That's Bezos.
The best advice you've ever received.
I guess it probably would be from Sanjeev. He probably, I think, gave me a lot, but including not just the Go IPO thing. Yeah, there was one time which was a very difficult decision, but he actually helped me through a people decision. And he made it very clear to me. I won't be able to tell you too much about why I need to take this decision. And it's not about the person, but it's about the company. And so I try to use that lens and filter all the time. What's the right thing for the company? And sometimes they're tough. So the toughest decisions are people decisions, right? And that has really helped me.
One mistake you'll never repeat.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess starting alone. Can't think of anything better.
A moment in your career you wish you could relive.
Yeah, the IPO. A special moment.
Founder that you admire deeply.
I named a couple of them already. Sanjeev, for me, just the highest level, in terms of integrity and governance, unbelievable. Learned a lot. Nandan, I mentioned. And from a distance, people like Bezos, from a distance. But these two people, I think, more close. Yeah.
Your favorite hotel in the world?
It's interesting. Do I have to say a Brij Hotel? Not yet. I'm a huge Maldives junkie. So for me, I think a couple of them, most of those holidays have been with the kids. So they're very special. So quite a few of them, just get a nice water villa, pool villa, water villa, and just paradise and spend. We're all water babies. So just spend the time. So, I mean, we had a lovely time. Well, there was a Four Seasons one, which was amazing in Landa Giravaru, but the kids weren't there, just me and my wife. I think that was unbelievable. Soneva was very special, but now sadly there's some construction going on across that. So I think the best time we might have had was in a very small unknown name. It's called Huof and Fushi. I think we had a lovely time as four of us, and then in a Dusit also. I think it's very important to just get the right kind of villa, but just those hotels, the way they take care. Recently, a hotel that blew me away was at the Red Sea Resort in Saudi Arabia, the St. Regis. Oh my God, the level of service and all was really fantastic. So I think there are lots of good properties out there. And the most amazing, actually, a tiny lodge in Namaseri Lodge in this Okavango Delta, 8 rooms. I cannot tell you the quality of people, 20 people probably working there. The warmth, the welcome, the attention to detail, the understanding your needs, your food requirements, restrictions, and working around them. For a pure veg, I can tell you is not easy. I've yet to see that level happen in places. Like, it blew me away. And all locals. And I was just blown away of just at every step there was a surprise. You're going on this cruise through wetlands and papyrus kind of this thing. And they're just taking a sunset cruise and you're seeing hippos and you're seeing things and you turn around and they suddenly say, in the middle of nowhere, they've set up a sunset bar for you with snacks. 2 guys who you saw going there, a guy and a girl, you're waving to them. They're going for some work. They're buying some produce. I'm asking my guide where they're going. Or they're buying something for dinner. They set up this whole thing in 30 minutes. It was unbelievable. Next day, another surprise. Third day, saying, what is going on? You guys are just like out of this thing. Unbelievable. So I think that shows me what small hotels can do. It's not that the rooms were mind-blowing and all. They're simple. There's no AC in the room. So real eco-resort. No AC by design. Fan, no AC. Generator, which I told them they've got to go to solar, which is, they're saying that's our plan. The only resort that's not solar. But what they can do with so little. Because it's all about people. So, yeah. I can go on and on.
Yeah, one thing Booking.com has that MakeMyTrip doesn't, and vice versa.
I think the international footprint is just amazing. I mean, I was searching for hotels recently on Tahiti and Bora Bora, and they have all the options. Like, I'm saying, oh my God, damn. Like, they're just unbelievable. And I know I know Darren Houston, who was their CEO, who took them from 20 billion to 80 billion in 5 years. And it's fantastic. Puritan approach to product and just how well they've done that. I guess what we have is understanding the Indian customer and ready to customize for them even when they're going overseas and all. I think that's really important for Indians. So I guess we both play to our strengths, but I do admire Booking as a company, a good company.
If you could renegotiate your first term sheet, what is the one clause you would change?
30-70 would be 70-30. So I mean, I was naive. By the way, I would have still worked with eVentures because great guys, and they gave us the opportunity to buy it all back. So,
what would be the one product that you would have killed in MakeMyTrip that you believe genuinely would absolutely work?
It's back, homestays. These guys didn't let me, I didn't push it enough and COVID brought it back. I was crazy about homestays because I think 15 years ago, pre-IPO, 20 years ago, I had stayed in a 1,100 rupees room in Goa, right near Kalangut, Mrs. Braganza's place. Some one room my friend told me about. My friend's father told me about. And we were there for New Year's and we didn't have money. So we said, we'll stay there. My mobike cost me more. My mobike was 1,200 and this was 1,100 a day. And it was through a bit of a swamp and all of that, water buffaloes and all going on. But it was a nice place. Clean, plastic curtains. I don't think my wife's ever forgiven me for that. And I had to throw the key over when we were done. I called her up and she says, Chabi pheng do, and it was done. And she had a small fridge. She had stocked it with beer for me and everything was set. And I told them, this is the future because you can't build hotels everywhere. This is a really important thing. Sadly, we killed it then, but now it's back with a bang and now we all believe in it. It's good. I think it plays a huge role in your accommodation landscape because A, we don't have enough hotels in the country. B, they'll take a long time to come up. And in certain places, I don't think we should get hotels. We should have homestays because you have the best experience. Remote parts of Ladakh or Northeast or even in Kashmir, like you have hotels, but why wouldn't you have more places where you can just stay in the home and get the best of the local? For me, it's clearly about understanding people when you go. The locals you meet when you travel other stories, I think that stay with you. Like you asked me the question of the hotel, I'm actually thinking about the people. Sure, some hotels are wow, they take your breath away when you see them and they're just stunning. And so many even here, like I should mention whether it's the palaces or the villases, they're all stunning. And I have passed Brij Rama multiple times on the boat. And I was like, why are we not staying here? We were all saying, and we had a big group, we couldn't. So you want to go there. But for me, that I don't think that lasts with me that long. What lasts with me is what you do there and very often the people you meet there. So I think that for me is more. I am that kind of traveler for sure.
And the most important one, the cheapest way to book on Make My Trip.
Use our app, talk to Myra in Hindi and book what you want. No, and use all become a MMT Black customer, use all your coupons, and we suggest those. You should. There's just great deals to be made. Why not?
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
And thank
For a
you,
good
Udit,
time.
for co-hosting this.
Yeah, so
Thank
nice
you,
that
thank
I
you.
got to talk to both of you. But great questions, great research, guys. I'm impressed on how much time you've taken. You run a very busy and exciting business. You've been in the midst of a deal, but look at the work you've done. Fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you so much for giving us time, sir.
Thank
Really
you
appreciate
so
it.
much for your time.
Thank you.